When mountain man Jim Bridger first told the tale of petrified birds flying through forests of petrified trees, he was called a liar. But some of his stories were true.
He told me he'd seen a column of water as wide as his body and as high as the flagpole in Virginia City.
Nathaniel P. Langford, The Washburn Expedition, 1870.
No one believed it. They all thought it was tall tales of the West.
There was a lot of uncharted territory. Nobody knew quite what was in that mysterious Yellowstone place.
Only art could truly convey the wonders of the Yellowstone, and one artist told the tale so well that his name became forever entwined with this magical place.
He was convincing an audience that something really did exist.
Moran recognized immediately that this was his land, this was his inspiration, this was his muse. He began to sign his finished watercolors, T.Y.M., Thomas Yellowstone Moran.
It was art that inspired Congress to make Yellowstone the world's first national park. And Yellowstone has returned the favor by continuing to inspire artists of all kinds down through the generations.
Half the cars that are going down the road have an easel strapped to the top of them, and the people are going out to do the plein air. I don't know, Yellowstone would be a good place to do that.
The Civil War had ended by 1865. But it had taken its toll on both the North and the South. Now, with the states united once again, Americans, ever the optimistic explorers, sought new horizons.
So you have to remember that in the 1860s, the Americans had almost beaten themselves to death in the Civil War. And so they were searching for symbols of unity and national identity.
The great surveys of the American West really started in the year 1867. Following the Civil War, the nation was in desperate need of natural resources for industry that really needed to flourish.
There were several expeditions that came into the park. There were private expeditions or state-operated expeditions.
The big four were the 1869 Folsom Cook Peterson expedition, party of 3 prospectors. The 1870 Washburn expedition, party of 19 men, 40 horses, and 2 dogs that received credit for discovery of the park. The 1871 Hayden survey, 30 men or so, mostly scientists and packers. And then the 1872 Hayden survey, returning the following year.
People were clamoring for their spot in history.
So Thomas Moran went on the first expedition into Yellowstone with Hayden as the guide, the first United States sponsored expedition. There were expeditions before. And Moran was the artist, and Jackson, William Henry Jackson, was a photographer.
But these were hardly the first visitors or the first artists to frequent what would become Yellowstone National Park.
The Crow's name for the entire Yellowstone Park area, all the geysers, is in our language, the Pish Idapche, Fringe's father. The Yellowstone was rich in all kinds of minerals. And so the minerals were all great substances to create their art. And of course, the parfleche art that we see, the teepee lining art, and some of the art that is found on the men's shirts and the women's dresses would be an expression of some of the things that use the material that they got from the Yellowstone Park area.
Seeking trade with the Crows, explorer John Coulter broke off with the Lewis and Clark expedition in 1806. After a grueling winter's journey, he became the first white man to see the wondrous Yellowstone. In the following years, rumors and tall tales began to filter in from the likes of mountain man Jim Bridger, who told wild stories about bubbling mud cauldrons and even sulfurous pools of hell.
No one believed it. They all thought it was tall tales of the West. In fact, that's why Folsom, the first true expedition to go into Yellowstone, was very sketchy about even speaking about his experiences in Helena, Montana, because he believed he would be viewed as a liar.
But Folsom's expedition, along with 6 decades of tall tales, piqued the interest of Henry Washburn, the Surveyor General of Montana.